A pregnant woman, a breastfeeding woman, and her 6-month-old child are killed in the Anglophone crisis in Dop in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. They were killed in a confrontation between separatist fighters and elements of the National Armed Forces. That is our lone top story in this edition of the news. The number of deaths in the deepening socio-political and security tensions in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon continue increasing by the day, and the last involves 3 persons: a pregnant woman, her baby, of course. This is the picture of one of the ladies. This lady was pregnant, and of course she was killed alongside another breastfeeding mother and her 6-month-old baby. And this, of course, is contained in a press statement issued by the communication officer of the Ministry of Defense, Cyril Serge Atonfak. According to that communique, these women were killed in a confrontation between some elements of the National Armed Forces, notably the National Gendarmerie, and some separatist fighters in Ndop in the northwest region of the country. And of course, the ladies include Banila Clarice Kife, this pregnant lady you are seeing on your screen. She is 23 years old. Banila Emanuela, breastfeeding mother, and her 6-month-old baby, the breastfeeding mother of 35 years old, were all killed by a bullet or bullets in a confrontation between elements of the National Gendarmerie and separatist fighters in Dop around the market in that locality. It is reported that these victims were simply passing at a time when there was a confrontation between elements of the National Armed Forces and the separatist fighters, and they were caught in the crossfire, and of course they died on the spot. And at a time when government ministers are taking measures and reassuring the population of the northwest and southwest regions of the country that there will be effective back to school come September 2nd, 2019, the situation continues deteriorating. Yesterday, 4 government ministers, including the Minister of Communication and Government Spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi, and of course the ministers of in charge of education, higher education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, and of course the Minister of Secondary Education and Basic Education, granted a press conference yesterday in Yaoundé to present the state of affairs as far as the academic situation of the northwest and the southwest regions of the country are concerned. The number of schools destroyed and some transformed into separatist camps, and of course those that are still functioning ahead of back to school. But the situation remains very tense and uncertain in those 2 regions. In the northwest regional capital, Bamenda, there are no signs on the streets, in the markets, in bookshops, and even in many of the schools that schools will resume or will reopen come September 2nd, 2019. Bustela reports from Bamenda. Stella with that report from Bamenda on the preparations ahead of back to school, and she indicates that there are no signs that there will be back to school come September 2nd. She went through the streets, the markets, the bookshops, many of which are closed, and she also visited some schools and paints the picture of the town of Bamenda few days to back to school.
Less than 10 days to the start of another school year in Cameroon, the effervescence in Bamenda is yet to be felt. In normal times, preparations will speed up during this month of August, but on the streets and in shops within Bamenda city, vendors can hardly display books, school uniforms and other items for fear of being victimized. A bookshop owner at the Commercial Avenue tells this reporter off camera. Parents are yet to be seen shopping for back to school.
Well, I really love for them to go to school, but I cannot risk their lives. The rate of insecurity is alarming and is rising.
Michael Fon is a 5-year-old boy in Bamenda. His mother is seamstress. The chalk she uses to mark points on dresses as she designs is what Micah is using to write on everything he sees.
I can write plus, I can write minus.
Come September 2019, Micah is supposed to be enrolled into class 1. Like other kids in Bamenda, he is excited about going to school. The fear of what may happen scares his parents.
3 years gone by and this is the 4th year. And I'm not seeing any sign. I'm not seeing any sign. It worries me. With the level at which we are having gunshots around our area, I am confused. I don't know what to say. But I am thinking too. But I'm still waiting to see if it will be a reality before I will do it.
In the crisis-hit Northwest region, parents are worried about tomorrow's generation.
I am not able. I really want my children to go to school because I don't want to have a generation of illiterates. At least I can manage to read and write, but what about my children?
Many are taking their children to other towns and cities. Within Bamenda, schoolgoers are relocating to areas they consider safer. In some government schools visited, few parents are seen securing admissions for their kids. Elsewhere around town, private educational establishments are yet to open their doors.
I plead for ceasefire so that we can be able to vacate on our normal day-to-day activities in order to bring up our children.
The inhabitants are therefore calling on the parties involved to create a more conducive environment for an effective teaching and learning process. Then and only then will school resumption in the Northwest be effective as it has been before November 2016.
And some elites in the Kupe-Moningoba Division Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon have joined the Back to School campaign in the 2 English-speaking regions of Cameroon. They are doing everything possible to ensure that pupils and students return to school come September 2nd. Immaculate Fogue reports.
Few days to the start of the 2019-2020 academic year in Cameroon, preparations in the 2 English-speaking regions differs from the other French-speaking regions. The steam that used to be experienced in most markets with the sales of school kits can no longer be felt as a result of rising insecurity that has kept children at home.
They shoot gun every day and night. So
every day and night, we get gunshots. We do not sleep in peace. We have not been going to school for the past 2 years. I pray government can do something for us. We thank all those who provided these school items for us. In a bid to promote an effective kickstart of schools in the 2 English-speaking regions, some elites in the Kupe-Moningoba Division, Southwest region, brought together children from the 3 subdivisions which make up the division and offered them books and bags, which they say is to support children resume school.
We want that our children should go back to school. Let the children know that without education, there cannot be anything. The best investment today is in education. And that's why we're calling on all the parents, all the children, and every other stakeholder to encourage these children to go back to school. They should also know that the government is taking necessary measures, to protect them from any invasions.
Our presence here is to show that we are in solidarity with the parents, we are in solidarity with the students and the pupils, and we are in solidarity with the teachers to ensure that in our division, as it is in other divisions, that back to school is effective and that there's a peace, and that hopefully will announce a return to normalcy in our division and throughout the national territory.
These kids are eager to kickstart school, but uncertainty still hovers regarding serenity in the teaching and learning environments.
Professor Elvis Ngole, former Minister of Forestry and Wildlife of the Republic of Cameroon, and other elites of the Kupe Moninguba division putting in efforts to make sure that pupils and students return to school September 2nd, 2019 for the next academic year. And reports streaming into our newsroom from the OPEC city of Limbe in the southwest region of the country indicate that the 8 persons severely injured during the shipwreck in the town of Limbe are responding to treatment, and of course the other persons who were rescued have returned to their homes, and of course there were some who were still missing, as Davidson Maimo reports.
At least 3 corpses have been retrieved from the sea following the shipwreck in Limbe, southwest region of Cameroon, which left close to 10 persons seriously injured. Survivors are still in shock and consternation.
In less than 30 seconds, we found the ship had already capsized. That's how we were running hectares in the ship, looking for life jackets, looking for our exits and how to get out of the ship. There were 7 of us coming from the Nigerian Law School, but we are just 6 of us here. We are not seeing one of our colleagues, Mr. Ayamba. It's so painful for me this morning.
It started like a film. Before I could know it, the ship capsized. At least we break the glass. The survivor we are seeing, we never gave up.
Cameroon Navy and Rapid Intervention Battalion officials say they received distress calls from the ship at 3:20 p.m. on Sunday. With instruction from the commander of the 2nd Military Region, 2 Rapid Intervention Battalion units, codename Force B Code, immediately dispatched 6 high-speed boats to the incident site. 3 other military boats were later dispatched from the unit securing the oil field at Rio de Real. The B were later enforced by 2 high-capacity and well-equipped Navy ships. The coordination of these 2 units from the Cameroon Armed Forces rescued 107 persons who were brought offshore with injured victims at the Limbe Shipyard and Industrial Engineering Base, alongside 3 dead victims.
We got help from the Cameroon Navy that came to our rescue. We're just so blessed. We thank God.
Cameroonian Navy, immediately we were on board, they started treating everybody. And they gave me drugs. And this is part of my drugs. I'm saying this to thank them. I think early this morning we've been giving food. 1 bread, 1 sardine for each person.
8 of the 107 rescued were severely injured. They were immediately rushed to the Limbe Regional Hospital, with 7 others suffering from fright, fatigue and stress. Medics have said all the survivors are responding to treatment.
So all the 15 victims, they have been stabilized and they are all in the ward in good condition. So those that sustain some chest and groundwater. So we are also trying to do chest x-ray, do abdominal ultrasound, and some others who sustain severe abdominal pain to check if there's any major organ damage or not. But for now, they are all in good condition. We have a child of 5 months old up to 55 years of age. So those are the age ranges.
Contrary to reports blaming the incident on overloading, officials from the Merchant Navy say the ship, which had 117 people on board, hit a sand dune. However, investigations are on course.
After this rescue mission has been carried out, there will be a preliminary investigation that will be carried out by my office to ascertain exactly the probable cause of this incident. What we know as of now is that probably the vessel hit a sand dune, but with the investigation that is going to be carried out, we will have more details as to what actually happened.
Both the Navy and the Rapid Intervention Battalion have deployed divers to the incident site as search for dead bodies continues.
From Limbe to Cameroon's political capital Yaoundé, where some inhabitants of the 6th subdivision of the town are now living in fear and uncertainty as a result of a 3-story building that has become a serious death trap following the collapse of its retaining wall that killed, or no, it didn't kill anybody, but it left 1 person severely injured. Innocent as a has more.
A deadly 3-story building, a permanent death trap looming over inhabitants of Deniel Poteau at Monté-des-Sœurs in the Yaoundé 6 subdivision. The recent collapse of the building's retaining wall left 2 victims, one with severe injuries and the other with minor wounds. I met a woman who was taken out of debris. She had a double fracture and her head wounded. She is still under intensive medical care. The children almost died because they were seated here in the workshop. If I was in the room, I would be in the past. There are 3 tenants on the site hit by the incident. There are cracks even on the site where the wall did not collapse. The incident provoked enormous material damage.
Mon voisin, Monsieur Moifo, il y a de cela que 3 ans, il m'avait contacté.
My neighbor informed me 3 years ago that he wanted to build a retaining wall. When he started building the wall, I saw that the work was not being done the right way. So I stood against it, but he continued. Less than 2 months later, the wall collapsed and destroyed my house. He came back to me later and apologized. So I gave him 2 meters to build a leaning retaining wall, and now the same wall has collapsed, and this is what is left of my house.
Voilà qu'aujourd'hui, ce même mur s'est écroulé, donc c'est ce deuxième mur, et voilà ce qui reste de ma maison. Le danger est permanent. Nous vivons dans la frayeur totale.
Occupants of houses in this area of the Yaoundé 6 subdivision are now living in uncertainty, fear and frustration.
Nous ne savons pas où aller, nous ne savons pas quoi faire. À la veille de la rentrée en plus, c'est une situation, nous sommes vraiment dans le désespoir total.
Local administrative authorities have instructed occupants of the damaged building to leave. Other security measures have been taken to avoid a greater catastrophe.
Si ce bâtiment venait à s'écrouler,
if this building happens to collapse, the damage could extend further. I have asked for a census of all those living in the area.
Il s'agit là des zones.
Houses are not supposed to be built on this area because it is a state-owned land. That is what explains the risk. This is why the construction of houses here does not respect any urbanization norm.
Ici, c'est un habitat spontané qui ne respecte aucune règle d'urbanisation.
There are many of such areas forbidden for human habitation in the Yaoundé 6 municipality. They are all occupied by houses constructed haphazardly. 2 years ago, a similar incident killed several members of the same family in the Etugebe 2 quarter.
A forest zone military training center has gone operational in the east region of the Republic of Cameroon, and a center that aims at training the military in forest zones was inaugurated recently by the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, Joseph Petit Asomosman. Jikan Gabriel files in details.
It was under a rainy condition that Defense Minister Joseph Beti Asomo inaugurated the Forestry Military Training Center at Monchembem near Dumé in the east region of the country. The edifice that lies on a 123 hectare of land, according to Defense Minister, will help in the training of our forces on how to fight in forest zones. The center, he says, will complement the already existing military training center for the Sahelian zone, which is located in Mindif in Mayokani division of the Far North region, while waiting for the military training center of mountainous zones to be constructed in the West region. The Forestry Military Training Center is expected to impact professional knowledge on the military to enable them fight against the different threats faced by Cameroon. According to Lieutenant Colonel Paul Isiaku, the head of the training center, the center has all it takes to train the military on how to carry out short operations, particularly controls of borders in forestry zones. Within the training center is a room that enables the military to shoot with precision, a way of economizing bullets. With the inauguration of the Forestry Military Training Center, Cameroon is preparing to fight against all insecurity problems faced by the country, particularly at a time when Cameroon is seeing the resurgence of Boko Haram attacks, fights against pirates in the high sea, and the Anglophone crisis. More to that, highway robbers which have resurfaced in some parts of the country.
Inhabitants of Disanga in the Senegal Maritime Division littoral region of Cameroon are sending complaints to the Yaoundé administration over the deplorable state of their roads, and it's becoming very difficult to move in and out of that locality. Hemin Iluga reports.
De Belalan jusqu'à Marie-Ambert, Dizangue, Mouanko. Nous souffrons, nous sommes fatigués.
This is the cry of a population complaining of the poor state of the roads. The roads are said to be inaccessible for over years now. As the locals say, the bad roads simply fluctuate in form as the seasons change. Thus remains the odor of the area during the dry season, and the mother nature of the road shows up during the rainy season, leaving dwellers with no other pedestrian mobility means than to put on boots. According to the dwellers, they have been given fake promises time without number, and the situation has never changed. With sand exploited from the area, which also has a number of industries, the locals say it is unbelievable for administrators to have abandoned them in such a situation. The roads are truly bad. This truck on this stretch reveals the nightmare of the people. This road user says it is the state of the roads which has left this truck drop off the stretch. As he says, it is worse when it rains.
Vraiment, on souffre. Pendant la saison pluvieuse, on ne roule même pas bien. Bon, notre état de la route de Dizangue, vous voyez notre état. Et comme la route est bien gâtée et comment le camion est couché là, vraiment c'est mauvais, on souffre ici là.
3 jours qu'on passe sur place et il n'y a pas de changement.
This other road user says the bad state of the road makes accidents recurrent.
Je sors comme ça de 3 kilos biche. C'est grave dans la 200 le bus là. On a déjà porté le client pour venir ici là, c'est mauvais. Jusqu'à où les même tombé. À route, il y a une brasserie qui a cassé les bouteilles, les bières à route.
Heavy duty truck drivers on your part say it's more difficult for them as they pay money to the council on a regular basis, yet nothing has been done to amend the situation.
Mais tous les jours, on verse l'argent à la commune et 4 000 francs chaque jour qu'on fait le voyage ici. Devant 1 000 francs. Et on ne nous laisse pas passer si on ne donne pas cet argent. Voilà 3 jours qu'on passe sur place et il n'y a pas de changement.
Sur le papier, on a déjà goudronné la route ici plus de 2 fois ou 3 fois. Mais sur le terrain, la route n'est pas goudronnée. Et on ne sait pas, il faut que vraiment vous-même vous voyez et vous venez sur le terrain pour voir vraiment ce qui se passe. Parce que nous, on connaît sur le papier que la route est déjà goudronnée. L'État.
As advanced by this driver, the Dizanga stretch of road is set on documents to have been completed at the level of works. But on field, it is a different story. Though having called on the attention of the Dizanga Council, the dwellers multiplied their plea, this time directed to the right quarters in Yaoundé.
And this is where we are going to wrap up this edition of the news, reminding you that 3 persons have died in a confrontation between elements of the National Armed Forces, notably the National Gendarmerie and separatist fighters in Ndop, around the market of that locality in the northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. There are a pregnant woman and a breastfeeding mother and her 6-month-old baby who were killed in a confrontation between the separatist fighters and elements of the National Gendarmerie down the market of Ndop. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.